Hello and welcome to Predictocast, the spookiest podcast around, where we predict a movie's storyline after watching only the first 10 minutes and knowing nothing else about it. I'm Spooky Josh, and with me is Scary Skinner. Do you like how I turned it on in the middle of talking and lulled you into a false sense of security before scaring you, Skinner?
Oh, God, I totally forgot it was October until you started midway through doing that.
To be fair, I did forget.
God damn it. The poison's inside of you.
That's right. It's going to make it seem like something cool is going to happen, and then you're just going to throw me over the overboard.
Boy, why did she die in that scene?
All right, so we are back talking about the rest of Uninvited from 1987. As we mentioned in part one, this was suggested to us by our good buddy Felipe Sobrero. And boy, oh boy, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This guy knows our show so well. He knows the kind of movies that just get us going. And this is one of them. It's probably one of the lesser ones he's given us, but it's still a lot of fun.
This movie is both so much more than I expected, yet so much less. Like,
yeah,
so much craziness happens in this movie, and yet I almost wish it had been crazier. But then I think about it, I'm like, well, what more could have happened? I mean, a demon cat comes out of a mouth of another cat.
Yes. So I think that we kind of had some things, like we speculated about some things like, oh, maybe it's not the cat the whole time, like maybe it infects people and then there's like some sort of parasite in them, and it's the movie sort of flirts with that idea, and then it's just like, no, we're not doing that, we don't have the budget for it.
No, like I was hoping it would put little humans inside the mouth.
Oh my God, that would have been amazing. A tiny little George Kennedy crawling out of his mouth.
That's all I wanted from this. But like, it all came off as like, oh, let's make it poisonous too, so we can have a few different kind of kills.
Yeah.
Or like save from using the puppet too often. But okay, I didn't see the poster with the boat on it, so I did not realize it was going to be a boat movie. Two, never occurred to me. And two, boy, I thought the mystery of why the cat has a demon cat inside it would be something that was in the movie. It's not.
No, there's no explanation why that is the way it is. I thought maybe at least at the end, like, the survivors would be picked up by the Coast Guard, and on the Coast Guard would be the doctors from the beginning, or like at least one of them, the one who let it get away in the first place. And he would explain what happened. Like he would say that it escaped from a lab and this is what's going on. But I guess there isn't really an explanation because they don't even know at the beginning what it is. They just see it. They think it's a tumor. And we thought, oh, were they doing some experimentations that caused this to grow? But no, it's just like a weird demon that lives inside a cat and then like comes out to bite people and kill them.
Would you say that it is a tumor, or would you say it?
Oh, it's not a tumor.
Thank you.
I wouldn't say that because it's clearly not a tumor.
Also, in this movie, I in part one, did I call Alex Cord's Walter Wall Street Graham did I call him a Bernie Lomax? Because this guy is completely a Bernie Lomax.
He is very much like a Bernie Lomax. I don't know if we mentioned it on the episode, but I think that we might have mentioned it while we were watching through the first 10 minutes. But like, yeah, he definitely is a Bernie Lomax.
If like Bernie Lomax if he had not died with our good friends Richie and Larry, if he had died on the way to the island from all his embezzling from a demon cat, that's this movie. This almost could be the prequel to Weekend at Bernie's. It's Weekend Going to Bernie's.
I think we did rightly call out though that he might have been a scumbag, and he is.
He is absolutely a scumbag. But like Alex Cord is. You think he's enjoying it more than anybody else in this movie?
Yes, for sure. He's having a lot of fun. I don't know why George Kennedy gets top billing in this movie.
He dies very early.
Very early, and he doesn't really do anything.
I mean, it's whose movie is it? Is it because
So that is very interesting because we are introduced to so many people before we get to the people who ultimately are the only survivors.
I was so stunned because we introduced it to Bobby and Suzanne that first 10 minutes like they're the main female characters,
Yes.
but they're not.
No.
Tony Hudson as Rachel. Tony Hudson from School Spirit. Another predictocast movie.
Oh, I did not recognize her from that. I thought she looked familiar, but I didn't realize that was her. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, she was in School Spirit.
That movie is something.
But she's doing a way better job in that movie than this movie. She's not trying at all in this movie, which is why you probably didn't recognize her because she's just sitting there looking bored and saying her lines very tired, like she's on a boat and she doesn't want to do this. But she, like, it took me a while to figure out like when did that character show up? Like it had to like keep telling me that she's the captain of the boat before I realized, oh, she didn't come with the other kids. She's the captain of the boat.
Yeah, there's like this weird backstory with her and Walter and her father. Like her father owned the yacht and then Walter bought it out from under him or something. I don't
and
get.
She come with the yacht like that character on SNL where Sly Stallone worked at an Orange Julius that became a Radio Shack. So he worked at the Radio Shack but didn't know what any of the machines were.
So we should start from where we left off last time. We begin where we were with George Kennedy's Mike Harvey showing up. We did fail to mention in part one that they ride up in this ridiculous looking limousine.
That had to be someone's personal limousine for this, like some of the producers, right?
It had to be.
It's crazy looking.
It looks like if the Batmobile were a limousine and painted white. Like that's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, it's
like the old school Batmobile.
It's cool, but why would these characters have? These are like the most boring white rich guys
I think
ever.
this is Walter's limo, and that makes sense.
I'm surprised he didn't put a mustache on the grill of this thing then.
But yeah, he seems very over the top because he is, so it makes sense that he would have a limo that looked like that. But Mike Harvey and Albert show up and pull Walter away from his little dinner with Bobby and Suzanne, and they have a meeting and they're talking about this is needlessly convoluted and doesn't need to be in the movie at all.
I was really trying to figure out how this would connect with the cat, and it turns out it has nothing to do with the cat. So why was I even trying to mentally do the gymnastics on it? I was so sure at this point, not having seen the poster with a boat on it, that the idea was these guys were in league with whatever happened, whatever was doing whatever at the place. And they were coming to tell him that one of the cats escaped.
Yes, that makes the most sense. That is not at all what.
Instead, we had to hear about the FCC so often.
I didn't know what they were talking about with that. What is this? What are they talking about with the FCC? Do I not understand what the FCC is?
It's like, are they trying to they have like a pirate radio station? What are they?
He's taking the yacht out into international waters so he can fulfill his dream of being a DJ. I like him and it's just him and oh God, what's the one with is it Ethan Hawke or Kevin Bacon who has a pirate radio station movie? Which movie?
It's called Sperm Bank.
I don't know.
We're not going to talk about it. That's a reference to another episode, by the way, of our show. But I didn't understand this at all, and it is ultimately unimportant.
Yeah.
Like incredibly unimportant. And then at the end, the amount of money that he's escaping with by 2020 standards seems laughable.
Yeah. Well, this is the 80s, so that was still, I mean, for a normal person, that would be a lot of money. But for him, it does seem very small. It feels like he should but he's going to international waters and he's going to like, you know, an offshore bank. So who knows? Maybe that'll, you know, he'll be able to make it last a little longer. But
I mean, he is Wall Street Walter.
That is true. So
fighting with the FCC
about what, I don't know. That's so crazy. If he were a TV producer, that would be something. But he's not that. He's like.
Like, I think do you think they meant the Security Exchange Commission?
The SEC?
Like, yeah, like something.
That makes sense,
like
but the subtitles clearly say FCC. So either that's a mess up on the subtitles part, or I don't know what this is about.
I mean, they might as well be complaining about Big Ten football coming after them.
So they go to talk to this guy. Mike sort of briefs him and says that this guy is scared, and scared people are desperate, and desperate people do desperate things. And you're like, okay, well, what's this about? Like, is this the doctor? Maybe the doctor is there and he wants to talk to him because this guy is bankrolling this weird animal testing lab, and now there's this animal that has escaped, and they did something to the animal that is causing it to have this weird mutation, and now the drugs are out into the world, and they might infect people and get them sick, and he'll be on the line. Like, that all ties together, but it's like, no, they're talking with this guy named Daryl, who is worried about something with the FCC, not really clear what that is exactly. They keep asking him if he's talked to the FCC, but they don't really specify about what exactly.
Is he like a fucking Viacom executive? Like, what is going on? And he's talking to like a local affiliate? I don't understand this. And if you do understand, please write to me. And I don't care if I feel stupid afterwards. Explain to me what their scheme is, why the FCC is involved. I don't understand when you could so easily have him be investing in pharmaceuticals and tie it all together.
Yeah, I think maybe you're right. I think maybe it is supposed to be the SEC, but maybe the subtitles just fucked up. But the fact is that that's what they said because we both thought that.
They say it so often too. Like it's not like he says it like once or twice. Both Walter and Daryl both say it several times. I'm like, what is going on? Did radio like, once again, I'm trying to make it tie into the cat at this point because the cat has not shown up. I'm like, did the radio like waves and microwaves mutate a cat? Like, were they trying to attack their enemies with radio transmissions, or what are they going on about? Like, what does the FEC have to do with the cat? I don't know what it does to do with anything.
No, and it doesn't matter because Daryl is quickly drowned in a hot tub.
It's kind of funny. I thought they would throw him off the boat, but I guess the hot tub is a closer piece of water.
Yeah, they drown him in the hot tub. And this is when we get like a weird little thing where, because Mike and Albert are sort of his muscle, even though they're both old men, older than he is. And they're Albert grabs Daryl and pushes him into the hot tub, and then Mike pulls a gun on him, and they end up drowning Daryl. But Albert has some sort of weird phobia about the water,
which is funny because apparently, reading the trivia, he just improvised this.
Because they bring it up later. They're like, "Oh yeah, poor guy didn't know how to swim," and you're like, "What?"
Yeah, like apparently he decided to like do that little shudder while he's coming out of the water, like he's afraid of it, and they decided to write it into the script that he's afraid of water.
That's so weird. But it could just be that he just killed a man and he's not totally comfortable with that.
Because he doesn't seem comfortable with a lot of the things in this movie before he gets killed.
Yeah. So we cut back to the cat here. That scene that is totally unimportant whatsoever just happened, and Daryl's dead, and it's like, okay, well, I guess we don't have to worry about the FCC or the SEC or whatever it is.
Well, I'm glad the movie gave us a long description of what blackmail is, in case we didn't know what blackmail was.
That is true. That is important information. That scene is there just because the writer of the film just learned what blackmail was, and he had to let everyone else know too.
Just in case.
Thank you, Greydon Clark. We cut back to the cat finally though, and it's hanging out near a gas station, And the guy at the gas station sees it and brings out some milk for it and seems like a very nice guy. But this serene moment is interrupted when a man comes up and sucker punches the guy at the gas station and then proceeds to rob the place. And I was hoping that the movie would do more with this, which is that the cat is getting revenge for the gas station guy.
I thought for a second maybe the cat had bit somebody and they were going crazy like a disease. No, it's just this guy happened to be, once again, nothing to do with the movie. These people are not in the movie. It's just, I don't even know why you would do this backstory. Because what about this is necessary?
Oh, well, it's necessary because the guy who robs the convenience store jumps into the truck and he heads off with his friend. And the cat has jumped into the back of the truck and it attacks them in the truck. The weird little puppet crashes through the back window and grabs the driver, and it causes the truck to crash. And the truck, we see the truck roll a couple times, the same shot of the truck played from different, angles. But the best thing that happens, and it sets up something that continues throughout the rest of the movie, which is the same sound effect being used again and again and again and again. Because
they have one sound for the cat.
Yeah, one sound for the cat and one sound for glass breaking. Because as this truck rolls, you hear the same glass breaking sound effect happen like 3 or 4 times back to back.
I wanted, when the boat went down, the little model boat sank, I wanted the glass breaking sound to go off. And then Stone Cold Steve Austin's music to hit in.
But you're right. They do use the same cat noise over and over and over again. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Like, and when we say that, you think in your head like, oh, because we mentioned part 1, whenever the cat's on the prowl or attacking you, and it's just that, which fine, every movie that's cheap does that for the cat sound if it's, a mean looking cat or something.
Yeah.
It's whenever the cat is around, period. If the cat's being normal and just hanging out with the humans, which happens, they just loop it. Like it's the cat can't, like, I don't know if people, I own 2 cats. I've owned 3 cats in my life. Here's a little tip to people who don't own cats. Most of the time, unless the cat wants something, cats make 0 sound.
Yeah.
They don't have like they don't sit there just going as they walk around doing nothing. Speaking of doing nothing, this movie, oh my God, we'll get to it. But before I forget, like, I know for plots to advance, especially in low budget horror films or whatnot, characters have to have a moment of relax where they do inciting incidents after inciting incidents happen.
Yeah.
But this movie, like, considering this small area of space they're in, the amount they can relax and just do shit right after horrible things happen, it just blows my mind. Like Walter tries to do something really terrible and like violence breaks out and somebody dies. And then like 3 scenes later, he's just sitting on a chair with his feet up, with his head behind my back, hanging out with them.
Yeah, there's that weird like reset that happens in horror movies before you can get to the next like big horrific set piece. And it's especially strange on this.
Because it's such a small, like we're going to say that the movie takes place on a yacht, and like the characters walk around this yacht and like make sure that this yacht is so big you could live on it 365 days. No, you couldn't. It's not a giant yacht. It's a big yacht.
Yeah.
Like it would cost a lot of money, but it's not like it's got like a cabin and a room. Like that's it.
Or they have more areas that they just cannot afford to show us. So we meet two dudes here who are hanging out at the marina trying to meet women. These guys this is Corey and Lance, 2 kind of dude bros. One of them is Rob Estes, who I recognized from Silk Stockings. And we
have a guy from Silk Stockings and a guy from Airwolf in this movie. That's a pretty good combo.
Yeah. And they're hanging out at the marina, and Lance is like, we should go to the beach because that's where the girls are. And he's like, no. He's like, that's the Corey's like, the commoners go to the beach. The rich girls come to the marina. And you're just like, okay,
true.
really? I don't think that's necessarily true.
Not even in the like fiction of this movie, because Suzanne and Bobby aren't the rich girls.
No, that is true. They're not. So they show up and they find them and they sit down because they're there to go on a yacht party with Walter. He invited them out to his yacht, and for obviously nefarious reasons. But yeah, they're waiting for him, and they sit down with the guys, and one of the girls mentions Walter, and this of course causes Corey to perk up because he is he's yuppie scum, and he is very interested. This is when he drops the Wall Street Walter nickname and like wants to meet this guy very badly.
It's one of those weird things where like 80s movies always had this one character who knew if there's another rich character in the movie who's older, like this other character, like they've been on the cover of Forbes magazine X times, like someone who collects, like they collect Nintendo powers. But they have to be there as the person who is sympathetic to, who is technically on the side of the good guys, but sympathizes with the bad guy because they want to get money. And this is a 1987 movie, and that's what this character is.
Yeah, this is very much a greed is good guy here, Corey.
Yes, he is, but he gets his.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I guess,
does.
kind of.
So then, let's see. We find out the reason that Walter wants the girls to come on the yacht is because he needs them for some sort of cover in case anyone is snooping around. I don't get what this is.
It's played off like he's telling Mike this as an excuse to why he's bringing two girls on the boat to have sex on the way to.
Yes.
And Mike calls his bullshit on it, but he's like, if I don't have ladies on the boat, it will like. It sounds
look suspicious. Like, if an old rich man doesn't have a bunch of young women on his boat, people will get suspicious and they'll think he's trying to embezzle money.
Or it's 1987. They'll think he's a confirmed bachelor.
Oh, I see. Yes, that's a good point. Walter doesn't want to think anyone. He doesn't want anyone to think that he's hooking up with Mike, I guess.
Or Albert, who's afraid of water.
That's true. Can't get wet if you're afraid of water.
Exactly.
So another friend of the guys shows up. This is Martin, and he's like, "Oh, we don't have anywhere to stay." And
why is Martin friends with these two guys?
That's unclear because Martin is like he's got like a science background, and Corey
he's a Donatello.
Corey and Lance seem like two total dummies.
Like they kind of make Lance into an okay guy for a little while, and then he basically kills Bobby for no reason.
Yes. So they after they've all become friends, sort of Bobby and Suzanne kind of lay out like, oh, you guys should just come with us to this yacht party, which is not a thing that you do because you don't know this guy, and it's clear that he wants you to come to the yacht to try to have sex with you because that is just what somehow that's just what happens. You have to be prepared for it. And they're going to the yacht, and they find the cat. They hear the cat meowing, and they open up this this little crate near the on the dock there, and they find the cat in there. They see its collar, and they know that it's a lab animal. And they're like, oh, well, this must have had experimentations done on it. Well, let's take it to the yacht.
Boy,
it's such a flimsy premise to get this cat on this yacht.
Here's how you get the cat in the yacht. If you're not going to tie Walter's scheme to the cat walks onto the yacht.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just
cats just get places.
Yeah,
that's just what they do. My cat's gone into the ceiling.
Yeah, you could easily just. You could very easily just have all of this other stuff play out and then see the cat just creep its way onto the thing. Like maybe the kids encounter it on the dock and it hisses at them and they're like, oh, that's bad news. And then they go on their way and then the cat follows them and, runs up a rope and climbs onto the boat. And then they see it later and like, that's the cat from the dock, and like are freaking out, like very easy way to do it. But the fact that they just pick it up and take it with them.
You never pick up a stray cat like this, especially when it says it's been experimented on.
Yeah.
B, like I assume they did this because they want I think it's Suzanne later in the book in the movie. I call it the book. I would love a novelization of this.
They heard the meow again and again, the same meow over and over.
It haunted their dreams as they had precoital foreplay. Like they have a scene later where Suzanne's like loses her mind or Bobby dies in the most stupid way. And all of a sudden she goes from a character who is almost kind of like the horror movie main girl to like, clearly she's going to die, which is this like kind of like turn. And she's like, it's my fault. I brought the cat onto the boat. I'm like, is that why? Like you couldn't just have her go crazy because her friend died and there's a killer cat on the boat stalking them all to their deaths, even though they get very relaxed between deaths.
So we find out here that Walter has this yacht and he has a captain in Rachel, but he has no crew because apparently he's that big of an asshole that everybody just bailed on him.
Well, he is an asshole,
yes.
And they would do this. The most realistic thing in this movie is the crew bailing,
yes,
on him, which has to happen so he can hire the boys as crew because there's no reason for him to let them on. There's no reason because he has the girls on for a very specific reason, which is broke by having 3 other dudes on here.
Yeah,
but. It only like he has to acquiesce on it for the movie to happen. So they're like, he doesn't have a crew, so he demands they become the crew. Except for they kind of don't, anyways. They cook one scene. That's about it.
Yeah, there's not much actual work that they do on the boat. So he wants them to get off the yacht because he finds out that like either the FCC or SEC might be coming to raid the yacht. But they have to leave immediately, and Bobby and Suzanne convince him that the guys can help as part of the crew. If he needs a crew, they can do it.
Wouldn't it be so like, I know kids love to party and they love boats. See, I'm on a Boat by Lonely Island. But like if some creepy old rich guy invited you on a boat and like there's no one else on the boat and you're like, we're going to just shove our party with these guys that we don't know. We're all just going to like, we'll basically blackmail this guy into letting us all use his boat to go to the Cayman Islands. Like we were on spring break. We had no place to stay. And now we're going to be in a country we have no way to get back from.
It's spring break, baby. You just go with the flow. End up in another country.
I mean, you would have some trepidation about this. Like, we don't know this guy, but let's not only go on his boat, which is we know is dangerous. We say it out loud, but let's just make him take 3 guys we don't know as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is this setup? It's like a commercial for Mike's Hard Lemonade.
So Walter also doesn't want the cat on board, but they
why would he?
Yeah, exactly. Like, but they convince him. At some point, they say it's like good luck or something to have a cat on board a ship or something like that.
Oh man, I mean, he would have. This ruins his life. This one moment.
Yeah, it does.
It is not good
like
luck.
Legitimately, he probably would have gotten where he needed to go if he had been more forceful about that cat. But he thought that if he let Suzanne keep the cat on board, then she would owe him, and that would mean that she would have to have sex with him, I guess.
I get like it is so murky on all of this. Like what everyone expects and what everyone does and how everyone acts is just is kind of beyond me at times.
Yeah. Mike is not happy about having these punks
about being in this movie.
Yes, about being in the movie, but Mike hates the punks on this yacht. He keeps calling them punks, even though I think at the time, wouldn't punks have been more like kind of like leather jackets and spikes and shit like that?
I mean, like at his age, back when he was a youth, like punk just meant you felt like you were sick.
True.
I'm feeling real punk right now. I don't know. I find like if you watch a lot of like older stuff, like even when punks were punks, like people of a certain age and certain socioeconomic background just like would just call anyone a punk, like it's like a super insult, like they're nothing but a punk. I'm like, hey, I could care less about being called that, honest to God. Like, no one could possibly care. Like, who is upset about that?
Yeah, so they want to get to the Grand Cayman so they can get their money, because I guess they are smuggling money. They've embezzled money and they need to get it to the Grand Cayman so they can get it laundered and everything. They've got $3 million, I think, is what he says.
This guy was in Cool Hand Luke.
Oh, George Kennedy. Yes, of course.
He was in so many great things, and he's in this movie on this boat.
Yeah, I know. He is a always enjoyable presence when he pops up and stuff. And then it was enjoyable to see him in this, but also he just doesn't have enough to do. The cat, I guess, knows what a boat engine is, because it goes into the engine room and the weird monster comes out and just destroys some stuff in the engine room so that it fucks up the ship.
Oh God. I mean, this is like, if you were like, it makes so little sense other than it had to happen. And they still pretty much get to the Caymans anyways. But like, I don't know, like because George Kennedy's in it, I was like, is this like the Naked Gun of horror movies right now?
Oh man, if only.
Which would be a scary movie, but
that's true.
But God damn it. Like it's one of those weird, like, why did that happen? Because the cat is never explained. The cat is never explained. No. They make up stuff about the cat as it goes. And once again, have to make sure everyone knows this who are watching this. Whenever the cat is just a cat and it's not the puppet, which they don't look alike at all. The cat is a beautiful orange tabby,
yes.
Long-haired. It's super friendly looking. It's clearly like like this cat loves everyone. Is this happy cat. It is not even remotely nervous. It's not anxious. It's not angry. It's not threatening. There's nothing about this cat, and like there's so many scenes of it like just walking friendlily through a shot while it goes, and we're I guess supposed to be scared, and I seriously, is there anyone who was ever afraid of this movie? Like who was nervous for a second watching this thing?
I mean, you didn't give your cats any side eye after watching this?
One of my cats was watching it with me.
And he's getting some ideas, huh?
I get some, like, hopefully not. Like, I hope, keep it inside, please.
So we all the people sort of start to get to know each other. Suzanne and Corey kind of hit it off. Lance and Bobby kind of hit it off. And then Rachel and Martin kind of hit it off. So they all sort of pair off, with their respective
nothing
mates.
For Walter.
But yeah, nothing for Walter.
Which is weird.
He does not take that. He does not take to that kindly. I will say he gets a little. He gets a little upset.
He seems most upset that Rachel, who is not a romantic aim of his, is interested in a nerd.
Yeah, well, so like Martin's a biologist, I think, and it doesn't still make sense why he's friends with Lance and Corey. But he's pretty smart and pretty even keeled and like a normal guy. And it makes sense why Rachel would be interested in him. But yeah, Graham is just a total jerk and just kind of a real asshole. The kids all like clean up, I guess. Like they go into the yacht and it's like messy, but I don't understand why it's messy. And they sort of start to clean up, but they don't really. And they're like dancing around. Like they're just really being loose.
Let's talk about their party. So whenever they want to have a good time, they go over very calmly and uncharismatically, walk over to something that plays music. They put it on and they dance. They shuffle dance near it. And they're like, we're having a good time. We're having a party. And like, they're not making out or anything. They're not doing anything crazy. They're not drinking. They're just literally shuffling next to not even young people music.
Yeah.
Because they're on this old person's boat and they're like, music's on, we're partying. Yeah, party. We're party kids. Next to music. Like you're in a small little cabin. You're not dancing on the roof next to the pool that guy drowned or anything else. You're just in this little room next to a Florida ceiling stereo and just like shuffling. But yeah, party. It's a good time. Music's on. Yeah, we're in a boat. We're not doing anything boat-like in here, but cool. They're so lame.
Yeah, they're pretty lame. Albert, one of the henchman guy, he's drunk, and he is at the wheel of the ship. I don't know what it's called. I don't fucking know.
I mean, I wish I knew as the son of a sea captain.
Yeah, that's right. You should be filling in all these gaps that I don't know.
Not happening. Nope.
But he's kind of drunk, and he's been just sort of like sort of wildly rotating the wheel there. And Rachel relieves him and sends him away, and he kind of wanders off and encounters the cat. And it's its normal cat form right now, just looking cute, and he proceeds to spit wine on it, which makes the cat very mad. It sends its weird little entity out, and it attacks him. And there's some good gore, so his face gets all gnarled up, and then he goes overboard.
He does. I mean, he's afraid of water, so he would never go overboard otherwise.
Yeah, he's freaking out, and he flips over the side of the boat and falls into the water. And then it's like some good dummy work there while that body flying into the water.
Compared to like all the other dummy work and puppet work in this movie, yeah, it's not that bad.
It's a wild shot
exciting.
too, because it's like really dark and they're not lighting it very well. So when you see it looks when you see the shot of his body going into the water, the way it's filmed, the angle, it looks like the body is flying into the sky.
They've rented this boat in real life 18 days to film this movie. They didn't have a lot of chances on this ocean to make second shots and throw multiple dummies into the water.
Do you think because this is probably such a cheap thing that they just left that dummy in the water?
I absolutely think what would you do if a dummy Albert showed up on your beach?
I don't know. That would be pretty startling, I imagine.
I mean, the only thing that's more startling is a bunch of Garfield phones, but
so like they're still partying. Graham is drinking pretty heavily, and he tries to dance with Bobby or Suzanne, one of them, and they find evidence that Albert must have went overboard, because they find a spot with blood, and he goes and Mike alerts Walter that like, hey, look at this, Albert must have gone overboard, he must have hit his head, and they just decide, well, we're not going to say anything about that, we got to get to the Cayman because this money is more important than this guy that we know.
I mean, there's no honor among thieves, am I right? Especially when the FCC is involved.
Yeah. They're going to shut down my broadcast.
They've got to get there, set up the antenna before they get caught.
Walter Graham would get to the Cayman, set up his pirate radio station, and launch Graham Crackers, where he talks with other white people about being wealthy.
They would eat that up because they can't talk enough about that among each other.
So Bobby and Suzanne are talking about the two guys. They mention that Lance is a stud, and Corey is preoccupied with money. And this is when like Graham is Walter is still kind of watching them very closely, because he hasn't let it go that maybe these young women are not going to want to have sex with him when there are other young men on boards.
I mean, maybe he shouldn't have let the other young men on the boat, and maybe not the cat as well.
I mean, yes. I mean, to all of those things.
We don't know how long this trip is going to take, and like they aren't doing any cruise stuff. And if the cat hadn't destroyed the motor, it would have just been Rachel driving the boat to the Caymans.
Well, okay.
What does it? The boat's not huge. What was he? Does he need a first mate?
That's like, what I was going to say, because like you again should know these things, but like on ships, on boats, on yachts, whatever. Like you do need more than just the person piloting it. It's not like it's a speedboat or like a cigarette boat, like where one person can, maneuver it and get around. Like if you're on a big enough ship, you need other people to help you do things, right?
Well, you need an engineer who could literally fix the engine if the engine broke.
Yeah.
That's slightly more important than the cook, but
And this is around the time that Martin and Rachel, they find the spot where Albert must have gone overboard, and they want to go back and look for him. But Graham sort of he gets Rachel to agree to go to the Cayman Island, because if they get there on time, I don't really know why there is a time limit, they will sign the yacht over to her, so she will get the yacht back. And this is like a driving factor for her. Like, I just want this yacht, because she wants to start her own shipping company, I guess, or cruise line.
It's very, very flimsy. Like, A, why she came with the boat, and B, why she like. It's kind of like, oh, I want my father's boat back, but. What do you do with a boat? Nothing else.
I don't know. I think they do say something later about the money that she gets. Like she can start her own like cruise line or something. And it's like, what?
You gotta get a license for that and stuff. Probably through the FCC, I assume.
I mean, $3 million to start a fucking cruise line. I think you need more money than that.
And, 1987, it's one thing. 2020, don't do that. You don't want to start a cruise line right now. No,
definitely not. Martin, being the biologist that he is, brings in some of the blood that they found and shows Rachel that there's 100 or 1,000 times more blood cells in this blood than even in fresh blood.
Why did he do this?
Well, I don't know. I think it's...
And why did he have the equipment to do this?
He don't they like weirdly mock up some sort of makeshift microscope?
Why did he do this?
I don't know. I mean, they're not even looking at Albert's blood. They're looking at President Trump's blood after he got that Regeneron.
Which sounds like something you would give it to a Transformer, honestly.
Autobots, we have to find the Regeneron.
Oh, God. If he starts ranting about the fucking Decepticons again, I'm going to lose my mind.
Hey, folks. I love Megatron.
Megatron's the best. We have the best seekers. We have the best planes. Cars are terrible. My best friend is a tape recorder.
You see the guy? Turns into a tape. It's great.
Razorbeak has been a great guy. He's going to be great on the Supreme Court. My son Rumble.
Starscream got a bad rap. Good guy. I know him.
RC's going to go to jail.
Bumblebee, get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Oh, that's annoying thinking about it.
So they find so Walter, he finds Bobby, who is doing a little bit of like jazzercise, a little aerobics, and he immediately tries to have sex with her. And Lance comes in, and Lance is taking a shine to Bobby, and he's like, "Wait a minute, no, sir." And he tries to stop him. And then Mike comes in and shoots Lance in the arm.
He's a punk.
That's right.
I mean, like, at this point, the whole thing should break down for everybody.
Yes.
It's going to more in a second, but like, they're so chill. This guy, like, who tried to sexually assault one of them, and then his friend shot him
Yes.
for stopping him. Like, the fact that they're all kind of chill at times, other times, it's like, no, this happened.
Yeah. Hey,
like,
remember when I got shot because I tried to stop you from assaulting this woman?
It's very odd. It's one of those like 80s things where things are taken like, of course he tried to do this, but like also this guy got shot.
Yeah.
He got shot.
I mean, look at her. She was just there.
She was just there and doing her jazzercise, and then Lance Penetrator had to stop Wall Street Walter from.
So then Corey comes in after the shot, and he tries to stop Mike, but he gets punched and kicked, and the gun gets knocked away in the scuffle.
I mean, only a cat can take down the sheer muscle of George Kennedy.
I know. So the gun is knocked away, and Mike goes over and he tries to get it with his foot. He just puts his foot under the little door where it slid, and he tries to get the gun, but he is bitten by the cat monster, and he starts firing at the cat, but it escapes. And he is having a real rough time. They try to call for Mayday, but Walter comes in and shoots the radio, and then
he makes it explode. It's pretty good.
And then he threatens to kill Suzanne if Rachel won't get the boat moving.
Yes, and like, this is very, very serious. Like, he's starting to kill Suzanne. He's destroyed their way of saving themselves. They now know a monster is on. The cat is a monster and has attacked one of them. And then they get the gun away from him. I think it's
they spray him with a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, like they're fucking. It's like fucking spiked out the attacking Kane in WWE or something. And then They put the gun on him. He's like, whoa, 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 money. And then like the next scene, they're just chilling.
Yeah, they're all just hanging out watching Mike, who's having a bad time. Martin thinks that there could be some sort of poison in the cat that has transferred through the bite. And they're like, well, it's probably because he had that medical collar on. And then this is when it seems like, oh, are we going to get like some weird, like crazy sort of parasite thing inside the people, because Mike starts freaking out and his chest.
It's a zombie change.
Yes, it is. It's like him going way over the top, and there's like a weird bubble in his chest that looks like it's about to burst out and something's going to come out. But then it just deflates and he dies. And then there's like a cut of them just throwing his body over the side of the boat.
Goodbye, George Kennedy. Lead the build in this movie.
It's very funny to see that cut. He's just like dead, and I was like, oh, is it gonna like now burst out now that he's like quiet? But no, it's just hard cut pushing this body over the side of this boat. It's wonderful. So they lock up Walter, and they're trying to like keep him quiet and away from everybody, but they stick Corey in the room with him to watch him, which is stupid. Why would you put the guy who knows who this guy is and seems to idolize him in the same room? Because of course he's going to be turned.
He literally, from the moment he heard the name Walter Graham at the start of the movie, in front of all of them, has been talking about how he knows everything about Walter Graham and he idolizes him and he wishes he had his money.
Yes.
And he wishes he wishes he could like be, he wants to like, he basically says like, I want to be his underling. I want to be his Giuliani, you know, like I want to be the guy who just, I want to ride his coattails. And it's like, then you put him in charge. Are you like, Martin, are you just book smart? Like,
Yeah.
What's going on here?
So Walter pulls out a suitcase full of money and he's like, there's a whole bunch more of this. I just need your help to get to the Caymans. We got to do it, and I'll give you a handsome reward. And so, of course, that's all Corey needs. He goes and he has sex with Suzanne. He's like, just stick with me no matter what happens, and we'll get out of this together. And they do get out of this life together before the end of this movie. We see kind of Lance after he's been shot, and Bobby goes to check on him, and he's kind of recovering okay, but he also says he has no feeling in his arm where he was shot, and
he's recovering considering that he got shot today. He's doing pretty good.
I guess his arm is just completely dead now. They'll have to amputate it. And they kind of kiss, and it seems like, oh, maybe they're connecting here. And she wants to look at his arm and see how it's doing. And they pull the pillow back, and the cat is there on the bed, the weird like creature out of its like shell, and it's just eating his fingers off.
That was a pretty good scene.
It's great. It's so amazing because this leads to what you've already referred to, which is him losing his mind, screaming about how he has the poison in his blood, and he is losing it. He goes to the edge of the ship and he's like, "You heard Martin, I'm gonna die, I'm a dead man, I gotta get out of here." And she's trying to convince him not to go, and she's screaming, and everybody's running around like, "Wait, what are you doing?" Trying to keep him calm. And then he just jumps off the boat and knocks Bobby off too.
Like, in a very, like, there's no reason for her to go over with him. She's not holding on to him or trying to keep him from jumping off. He just all of a sudden jumps off, and his arm kind of smacks her, and then it looks like she leaps as well.
Yeah, and then they go in and they try to save them, and both of them are dead. Like, there's no reason that she had to die except that we have to get these people out of the movie.
But why did she have to die here? Like, if they can jump out to try to get them and survive, and he's not holding her, why did she drown?
Yeah, I don't know. That's insane. Like she just died on impact with the water, I guess.
I was trying to figure out like what happened that she just couldn't swim there. Like, they never established she can't swim. I mean, she's at spring break in a bathing suit at a hotel, but like, I assume she can swim. And then the other two just jump in. I'm like, okay, maybe the water's too choppy, or the boat's not really moving, so it's not gonna get away from them. Like, and then they jump in too, and it's like, for her it was lava, and for them it's water. Like, why did she die?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Like they and this of course sends Suzanne off the deep end, freaking out and saying that they're all gonna die.
Hey, Bobby went off the deep end too.
That's very true. She did. Corey convinces everybody else that they need to let Walter out, because they need his help, because now they're down 3 people on this ship. And so Walter and Corey plant some poisoned meat around the engine room, I guess, to trick the cat and kill it that way.
Lure, when you want to catch an evil cat with a puppet monster inside it, you want to really go to the classics like Hansel and Gretel or something.
And they're running out of food, which makes me wonder. It's been about a day that they've been on this ship. So but the boys can't cook, so the food's gone bad. Oh, but how long has it been that they've been on the ship?
About a day.
It went bad that quickly.
Well, it goes bad because the cat gets into it and poisons the food with its mouth. Which is weird.
I didn't catch that. I caught it later, but I didn't realize that it was because they're still eating the food at this point, and they're running out of food, and they have cornflakes and champagne for dinner.
I don't know why they're running out of food. That makes 0 sense.
Yeah. So they're kind of just trying to stay alive and keep morale high, hanging out with this guy who tried to assault one of them earlier and is trying to kill them. They're just hanging in there taking it easy.
Just hanging with your bro, Wall Street Walter, who wants you dead or to assault you.
Corey goes down to check on his traps. He almost gets attacked by the weird cat. And he just starts firing his gun wildly, which is probably a thing you don't want to do in the engine room of a ship. But thankfully, nothing blows up. But he does shoot a hole in the ship, which comes back to bite them all in the ass later. And he does hit a pipe that, in fact, does explode. Thankfully, it doesn't take out the entire boat. It just blows up localized right on him and burns him to death.
The cat doesn't kill him.
No, the cat has nothing to do with this. The cat just shows up and scares him, and this causes him to shoot a pipe, which burns him to death.
The cat, there's a couple of them that the cat doesn't kill, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, this one is funny too because it seems like the cat, once again, knows what it's doing because we have a longer shot of the cat and the creature, and it's crawling back inside its weird cat shell. It's like, I got out and I scared you. Now I'm going to go back inside.
Like the little headed side of a turtle. Like, nope.
But why does it wear the cat skin?
I can't tell
what
if
is
the cat's. It doesn't matter. Yeah, there's no explanation for it. You don't know if the tumor cat inside of it controls the whole cat, whether it's is venom. Is it
because if you look at it on if you go to Google and you search for this movie, you will find pictures of it from the film, and it just looks like a smaller, weirder looking cat. It looks like a hairless cat with hair slightly
inside another cat.
Yeah.
Which, unless they use the giant puppet, it would not fit inside.
No. But it's so weird. They don't do any sort of explanation whatsoever.
To have the whole start be the backstory for the cat that doesn't explain the cat,
No.
and then just never explain the cat. The Wikipedia at one point says it is drawn to the carnage of the gunfight. And did you have access to the script? Because that's not clear what happened.
I mean, the cat seems to be a vengeance seeker for that gas station guy, but clearly doesn't really discriminate when it comes to the people on the boat. I guess all of them are bad in its eyes. I don't know.
It's not like it tries to it leaves Martin and Rachel to the end, but it's not like it spares them.
No, it tries to kill them.
In a very funny scene.
Yeah, that scene is very funny. So Corey's dead. Cut to them throwing his body overboard again.
Funny every time.
It's hilarious. It's such a funny visual because it's always the same shot. It's shot from above, way on the top deck, above the sort of main deck where they are, and you just always see them taking this body wrapped in a white sheet and throwing it into the water.
I mean, I assume that they had one day where they could film from that angle on the boat,
and they just did it all at once.
They just kept throwing things off the boat over and over again.
It's 5 or 6 dead bodies floating in the water around this ship. They Walter and Rachel kind of get into an argument here. He tells her that she's very consistent. She's always a dumb bitch, which is insane. She has done nothing to him other than try to drive the boat, honest to God. And he hits her, which is really fucked up. And again, they just hang out with these people later. He hits her, and in the struggle, her keys fall, and Suzanne, who is losing her mind and is completely gone mad, and she's really hungry, she takes the keys and goes in and eats some of the poisoned food.
She thinks that Martin and Rachel, who have blocked the food off because they know it is poison, that they are trying to hoard it all and keep it from her. And like I said, up until like midpoint of the movie, she might have been the main character.
Yeah, she certainly seems like the main character when we are introduced to her, because it's her who's like, oh, you know, Bobby's my crazy friend who wants to go to dinner with this weird rich guy, and she just wants to show up at spring break without a place to stay and like figure all this out. And I'm the grounded one, and I'm like gonna try. She'll probably die, but I'll survive because I'll have my wits about me. And it's like, no, she just goes crazy.
And also, like, it's funny because they are different at the start. Like they are portrayed differently at that point, where she's more wary of Walter and the situation, and she's you know, just in general. Once they're on the boat, they're interchangeable.
Yeah, they kind of just go back and forth. I mean, they both seduce those guys by saying, "Ooh, it's really hot," and like unbuttoning their shirts and stuff, and it's like, okay.
By the way, this movie shockingly has no
because
nudity.
it's PG-13, I think.
I think it is.
Or it's not rated according to that, but I saw somewhere that it was a TV thing, like a TV movie maybe. So I don't know.
Yeah, but like generally a movie like this exists only for that. But I mean, everyone, like, we talked about them having, as it says, precoital foreplay on the Wikipedia article about this, which I don't know why someone would write this out so fancily for this fucking movie, but it's always everyone smushed together as hard as possible so nothing is showing.
Yeah.
They're sharing some kind of protein strand between their two bodies by osmosis.
So she goes and eats this food and starts choking. She sees the cat sitting there watching her, and her neck starts pulsating and like blood starts pouring out of it, and then she's dead. So okay, bye.
I thought maybe they were going to go as far as to make her head explode, but no, they didn't.
That's
they had
the
that
thing.
one
Is it
bubble
like
effect.
it goes just like not far enough. Like with George Kennedy, you expect that thing to like burst or pop or something, and then with her, you expect her head to blow up or something, and it's like, no, we'll just we're gonna edge you to this explosion point.
Yeah, it's what an odd thing to have happen. If you're a long time listener to this podcast, and by a long time I mean 2 or 3 weeks, you may have heard me talk about there's a guy outside my house who practices a whip. I want to explain. It's 8:00 at night. It is dark outside. I can hear him whipping outside at this moment, and it's very distracting.
This just in, we have a Whip Man update.
He has a wooden cross that he now uses as a practice dummy.
Is it like a Catholic cross with Jesus on it, or is it just a cross?
I think it's the closest he could do to a human body. Like it's upwards with 2 arms, but it's a cross. And also, why would you practice on a human body with your whip? What are you doing? What is going on?
Oh man, I'm so happy we got a Whip Man update during the middle of this episode.
It is ink black outside, and all I hear is crack, crack.
Would Uninvited have been better if Walter had used a whip?
I mean, it would be kinkier.
That's true.
What if George Kennedy?
Oh, instead of a gun, he just like whipped Lance's arm, and he's like, I can't feel it. I can't feel anything in my arm anymore. He whipped me so hard.
Oh, that'd be bad.
So Graham, Rachel, and Martin are the only people left. They see that there is a hole in the hull caused by Corey, his negligence. Amazing they didn't see that hole earlier when they went down to get his burned body, but they're noticing it now. So they realize they have to abandon the ship. He goes back, Walter goes back to get a briefcase of the money. He wants to get all his money, and he keeps going back to get it. And he goes back for the last briefcase, and the cat is there. There's like water in this set. So they had enough to build a set that they could put water into, which is impressive. And he's like wading through it like he's in the fucking Titanic. And the cat is standing there near the briefcase. And of course, the creature pops out and attacks Graham and kills him. So he's dead. Like,
It's not a satisfying enough.
It's not. He needs to die like much worse than this.
And in some sort of ironic way. I know he's going for his money and he dies for his money, but you got to find a better way to really have him die for money that's not in the dark and wet where you can barely see it.
Yeah. It needed to be, let's see, like it needed to be more grand in some way. Like I don't know exactly what, but
he needed to die in a way that his body's completely intact, so that Rachel and Martin can bring his body to the Cayman Islands, put on sunglasses, pretend that he's still alive,
and have him sign over this money. Because
it kind of happens anyway.
Well, I want to talk about that when we get there. So so Graham is dead. He's good. He's out of the movie. And Martin goes back to find him, but he finds his body floating there. And Rachel is in a lifeboat, and she's out, and then Martin jumps out and joins her, and we see the yacht sink, which I guess this is just they filmed it in a bathtub with this tiny little boat.
It's so funny, and I'm so glad. I'm like, oh, good, they didn't spend any money on this. Fantastic. Like all the critical reception, like on Wikipedia and other places, always mention like the stupid boat was terrible. I'm like, the whole movie's like terrible. At least give me a shitty boat. Like I was kind of happy that we had a shitty boat after the shitty puppet.
Yeah, no, I was totally fine with that. They see the money in the briefcase, and this line here is amazing. They say it's enough to get a new boat and finance the study of biology.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I guess Martin can go to school, or he can. It's like a grant for him. I don't know. It's worded so weirdly.
They had to make it so that we knew they were both going to split it and not fight over it. But like we only know two things about either of them. She likes the boat and wants it. He knows biology. Yeah. That's it. That's their entire characters.
Yeah. And they got what they wanted at the end. They can get a new boat. Don't think about the fact that this boat that her father owned just sank because the guy who currently owned it was awful, and there was also a monster on board.
I mean, she apparently she loved this boat, their father's boat, so much that she continued to work on it with this asshole because she could not let it go. She apparently, up until this point, she had no guarantee that he would ever sell it back to her. She is surprised when he tells her he will do that for her if she makes it to the Cayman Islands. Like she's not working towards buying the boat back from him. She just loves this boat so much. She's willing to work for the guy who's an asshole who bought it from her father. And then it sinks and she's like, cool, I can get a new boat.
Yeah. So they think that they're in the clear, but of course, this being a horror movie, we have to have a final scare. The weird cat monster, now no longer in its cat skin, attacks them. It jumps on them and it tries to bite Martin, and they kind of wrestle it off and knock it into the water. And then the exact same scene plays out again.
It is so funny. Like they basically said, like, we can keep throwing it in the water, but it'll keep coming back because we're the only thing it can float on. This is just the solution, by the way. So they tease like, oh God, we had to throw one of these suitcases full of money into the water because it will try to use that to float on instead. I mean, that's not 100% sure what would happen. I mean, the other thing is still bigger, and then like, so they have this quandary of, but if we do that, we're throwing away the money. And then Rachel just goes, hey, I have a giant duffel bag. Throw the money in first. I don't know why she's a duffel bag, but don't worry. There's no actual conflict of what we have to do here. Let's just keep the money and throw away the suitcase. And luckily, that's what it does. It's just so funny. They keep throwing it back, and, famously good in water cat keeps flying back from the water to attack their face again and again.
Yeah, the cat on the briefcase is also hilarious looking because it's like hissing at them.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
And they get to the Cayman Islands, and they are told that everything's okay, and they understand that the authorities there, like, I guess, understand what's going on, and they wish them well, and they head on their way. I'm
sure there's a sunken boat, and tons of dead bodies out there, but this is the Cayman Islands. This happens all the time. Just ask our friend wearing sunglasses over there, held up by two guys, Bernie Lomax.
But my thing that I was going to bring up is that, like, he was taking that money so that he could launder it, basically. He was going to put it into a bank, and then it was going to get all, jumbled about however you launder money, and then he was going to get money back that wasn't traceable, essentially. And then he couldn't be tied to him. At least that's what I think he's doing, because if he has the cash, then who gives a shit? Why does he need to get it to the Cayman Islands? But so I'm thinking, if they keep the cash, is that money then like marked? Is it, if they try to spend it, are they going to then get in trouble with the FCC or the SEC or whoever it is?
Well, okay, the Big 12 football is going to come after. They explain this when he's getting on the bus, on the boat, the water bus, such as it is. They explain like the FCC is on the way. They have to leave as quickly as possible. Wouldn't they're really researching it, like they're Donald Sutherland with looking after diamond smugglers. Like, wouldn't they go like, okay, you two were on the boat, now you have a mysterious $1 million. Like, it's very tieable. She's the captain of the boat.
Yeah.
Like Martin could say, like, why would I ever be on the boat? What are you talking about? There's no evidence I was ever on this boat. Why would I have ever been on the boat? Like, she's the captain of the boat. Like, she worked for him. Now she's $1 million.
Yeah.
Interest. But they just get this kind of like, the guy like totally blows off all this death, and they just kind of shrug and smile and walk off for their new lives. And I was trying to think, like, they were kind of a couple on the boat, but like, are they going to start a new life as millionaires now together?
I guess so.
Because I was wondering, because you've, a little peek behind the curtain, you've started like 5 or 6 relationships exactly this way. And I was wondering, like, how well does that does that last?
Well, thanks for doxing me here on the podcast.
I think
you answered your own question by saying that I started 5 or 6 relationships like that. So yeah, they don't stick around too long. Once the money runs out, we have to go our separate ways.
I mean, they go off and they do spend all their money, all that $1 million on biology, and you put it into the podcast.
That's right. I could start my own podcasting company with $1 million. It's all about biology. And we have to get one final little tag to let us know that there's more to come in this uninvited saga, of which there was not. The weird cat monster has washed up on shore, and it's grabbed by a random child. And this cat is the weird, like, matted hair black monster version that's inside the regular cat, which I thought was interesting and weird.
It's interesting, but it's supposed to be that, but it's actually just a brown cat. Yes,
it's just a regular cat.
It's a third cat.
And then, that's the end of the movie. I mean, this is such a silly movie. Like, I can't recommend it enough, honestly. It's so dumb.
Oh, it's so dumb. Like I said, like, there are times where you kind of wish it was more, but at the same time, it's trying to be earnest, so it can't go too over the top, and it's like made for video or made for TV or whatever, so it's not going to go absolutely balls crazy, but it's so stupid. Like, it's so earnest about it that you just sit there and like, who thought this was scary? Like, and I love them for it, because you have to have somebody who has no idea how to make a horror movie to really get these gems where you sit there and go like, the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Well, there's like zero tension, and like the monster is incredibly like, so like whoever pitched like, okay, you have a research cat, and inside the cat is an evil cat. It's not like kind of like metaphysically, like it literally has a second cat inside it. You're like, okay, so no, you seriously want to make this movie? Yeah, it's a great idea. Like, well, no, it's not. Yeah, but I rented this boat. Okay, let's do this thing. Because like also a trapped in a small area horror movie is good generally, except for there's no sense of tension on the boat.
No, definitely not.
Because like the idea would be like, as the kills start, even though the monster is adorable, the tension and paranoia and infighting would increase and increase. They're all in this very tight area. You generally wouldn't light it as well as they do.
No, it's so well lit.
It's so well lit, like a TV show, and like everything that you would do to increase tension, they don't do. Like they release tension constantly. Buddy gets shot in the shoulder, and she almost gets assaulted. And 2 scenes late, and then they know the killer cat's in the place, and people have died. And then they're casually trying to have sex, like not like in this furtive like we only have so much time left to live, let's have it thing, but like we're in a boat, baby, let's have some sex. I can't feel my fingers. And it's not even in that like horror movie like ironic like they're getting killed for sinning way, but just like they would never stop and get relaxed to this point at all. It just wouldn't happen. Like. Even the idea, like, Albert was clearly, something happened to him on the boat. There's blood and he jumped off. And like literally the same day you would do jazzercise.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's totally worth your time. It's a lot of fun. It's very silly. It's not scary at all, but it's a good time to watch and laugh at because the puppet is ridiculous and everybody is ridiculous in this thing. And it's a tight little breezy, like 85 minutes, 90 minutes, something like that. It's not very long. You can get through it in no time. But yeah, I think that's probably going to do it for our discussion of Uninvited from 1987. Thanks again to Felipe for recommending that one to us. It was a lot of fun, and it may have inspired what our second film is going to be. But I'm going to leave it there because if you want to know what our second film is, you're going to have to join us next week when we reveal the title of the film and make predictions about it, like we do on all the mini episodes. And maybe we'll get a update on Whip Man and what he's up to as well. So, if you want any of that, you got to come back next week.
Man, I like just whipping in like I'm building up towards writing my movie Whipping in the
Dark. That's pretty scary.
And it's getting scarier by the day.
Well, until next time, I've been Josh.
I've been Skinner.
And we predict you'll join us.
Ooh, no! Spooky! Stop that.
If you like the show, subscribe, rate, and review us over at Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter and Instagram at predictocast, and you can find our entire back catalog at predictocast.com. Our theme music is by Kyle Sledge. Find more of his work at soundcloud.com/geistmusic. To get monthly bonus content, sign up at patreon.com/predictocast. As always, thanks for listening.